People speak about respect as if it is a crown placed upon their head by others. They chase it, protect it, defend it, and live in constant fear of losing it. But what if I told you that respect, this thing you fight for, this fragile reflection in the eyes of others, is the very chain that keeps you from peace? What if you were asked to destroy it, to burn the illusion that has ruled your thoughts, and to stand unshaken even when the world refuses to bow to your name? To destroy your respect is not to become shameless. It is to see clearly that the respect you seek from others is borrowed, unstable, and never truly yours. It is to understand that the eyes of others cannot define the worth of your soul. From the moment we are born, we are taught to crave approval. We want our parents to smile, our friends to admire us, our lovers to think we are special, our enemies to acknowledge our strength. But every time we reach for that acknowledgement, we hand over a piece of our freedom. We become puppets dancing for applause, slaves to perception. To destroy your respect means to take it back. It means to stop living through mirrors and start living through truth. For if respect can be given to you, it can also be taken from you. And anything that can be taken is not truly yours. People will tell you to protect your image, to maintain your reputation, to never let others disrespect you. But those same people are often miserable, constantly watching what they say, terrified of being misunderstood. They wear masks so tightly they forget the shape of their real face. The one who destroys his respect, however, walks unmasked. He does not need the approval of men because he walks with something greater. Self-command. When you no longer need to be respected, you become untouchable. Insults lose their power. Praise becomes meaningless. You begin to see how small people's opinions truly are when compared to the vastness of your inner world. There is a certain strength in being misjudged and not defending yourself. It feels like death at first. Your ego screams for recognition, for explanation, for justification. But if you can sit with that discomfort and remain silent, something sacred happens. The part of you that depends on the world begins to die, and the part of you that depends on nothing begins to awaken. The one who can endure being misunderstood without reacting has reached a higher form of power than the one who commands armies. For while armies may conquer lands, the self-controlled man conquers himself. Destroy your respect, not your character. Destroy the illusion that others' respect is a requirement for your peace. You can do everything right, and still they will speak against you. You can give kindness, and they will call it weakness. You can stand firm, and they will call it arrogance. The opinions of men are winds that shift with seasons. You cannot build a stable home on the shifting sand of perception. Build instead upon the stone of your own principles. The world may never respect you for it, but your soul will. To destroy your respect is to destroy your fear of humiliation. What is humiliation but the collapse of an image? You only feel humiliated when you still cling to what others see. Once you no longer live for that image, no one can humiliate you. They can mock, insult, reject, or laugh, but none of it touches you. Because they are speaking to a version of you that died when you stopped seeking their approval. To live without fear of disrespect is to live without fear of loss. It is to be free in the deepest sense. Think of how many choices you've avoided out of fear of being judged. How many times you stayed silent when you should have spoken. How many times you agreed when your heart disagreed. How many times you smiled to keep peace while your spirit screamed inside. You traded your truth for respect. You silenced your soul to protect your image. And now you wonder why you feel hollow. Respect built on self, betrayal is nothing but poison served on a silver plate. You cannot drink it and expect to be free. Freedom demands honesty, even when honesty costs you admiration. There will come a time when you must choose between being respected and being real. When that moment comes, choose reality. Let them call you cold, rude, arrogant, strange, whatever they must. Their labels cannot define what they do not understand. You will lose people when you destroy your respect. You will lose invitations, attention, popularity, but you will gain something infinitely greater yourself. And once you gain yourself, you'll realize how cheap respect really was compared to the richness of inner peace. The one who is obsessed with being respected is a prisoner to perception. He polishes his words, trims his emotions, and bends his principles to fit the comfort of others. He's not free. He's performing. But the one who destroys that need, who can walk through ridicule without bending, who can smile at insult without bitterness, that man has escaped the theater of human opinion. He has entered the domain of stillness, where truth speaks softly and ego falls silent. Destroy your respect, because as long as you seek it, your actions will be tainted. You'll do good not because it's right, but because it looks good. You'll speak truth not because it matters, but because it gains applause. You'll avoid mistakes not because they harm your growth, but because they harm your image. The constant question will not be, what is right, but, how will this make me look? And that is the slowest form of spiritual death. Life is too short to live for how you appear to others. Live for what your soul whispers in the silence when no one is watching. Let them disrespect you. Let them call you names. Let them spread rumors. None of that is your concern. You are not in this world to manage the minds of others. You are here to master your own. The one who can remain unmoved while being disrespected holds true power. Because while others waste energy defending illusions, he invests energy in building his inner fortress. He stands firm in storms because his foundation lies beneath the surface, rooted in something unshakable, self-respect, not borrowed respect. Do not confuse dignity with image. Dignity is quiet strength. Image is a loud performance. Dignity is earned through self, discipline and truth. Image is built through manipulation and vanity. Destroy your respect to find your dignity. They are not the same. Dignity stands even when mocked. Image collapses with every whisper. The man who lives for image cannot sleep at night. He replays conversations, worries about impressions, checks the mirror of public opinion. The man of dignity sleeps peacefully. He has no performance to maintain, no audience to impress. His peace is his pillow. The world praises those who appear great, not those who are great. They respect the loud, the rich, the popular, the dramatic. They mock the humble, the calm, the simple. But what they respect changes with every season. Yesterday's heroes are today's villains. Today's idols will be tomorrow's scandals. Respect built on trend is a flame in the wind. It flickers, it dies. You cannot live for such fragile light. Destroy your need for it, and you will see the eternal flame that burns quietly within you. Destroy your respect, because when you no longer need it, you become dangerous in the best way. You can speak truth without fear, walk alone without despair, love without conditions, and act without seeking applause. You stop negotiating with the world for your worth. You stop performing. You start existing. You stop chasing validation and start embodying conviction. People may not respect you now, but they will eventually sense something unmovable in you. And while they might not understand it, they will feel it. That is the quiet authority that belongs only to those who no longer beg for approval. There will be moments when disrespect will tempt you to retaliate. You'll want to prove yourself, to show your strength, to correct their perception. But pause. Ask yourself, what are you really defending? Your truth needs no defense. Lies crumble by their own weight. Those who truly see will see without your explanation, and those who do not are blind by choice. Don't waste your spirit fighting shadows in the minds of others. Stand tall, walk away, and let silence reveal what pride never can. To destroy your respect is to destroy your dependency on the external world. When you no longer feed on validation, you stop starving for attention. You no longer wait for the world to see you. You begin to see yourself. And when you truly see yourself, the noise fades. The world's judgment becomes background static. You act according to principle, not applause. You help without needing credit. You forgive without needing witnesses. You rise without needing recognition. That is power, the quiet kind, the kind that cannot be bought or broken. Imagine living a life where disrespect no longer hurts you, where rejection feels like redirection, not destruction, where loss feels like purification, not punishment. That life begins when you destroy your respect. Because what people think you are can be lost, but what you truly are can never be touched. The world can strip away titles, fame, followers, reputation, but it cannot take your peace unless you hand it over. If you wish to live free, be willing to be disrespected. Be willing to be misunderstood. Be willing to look foolish in the eyes of those who judge from ignorance. Every step toward your truth will offend someone who lives in lies. Every act of authenticity will disturb those who worship appearances. Let them be disturbed. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. Their confusion is the price of your clarity. Do not trade your peace for their comfort. When you destroy your respect, you destroy the prison of self-importance. You stop thinking of yourself as the center of every conversation, every opinion, every judgment. You realize people are too consumed by their own worries to think about you as much as you imagine. You begin to laugh at what once wounded you. You begin to live lightly. You no longer carry the burden of reputation. You walk free of the world's gaze. That is when life begins, not when everyone claps for you, but when you no longer need them to. Destroy your respect and discover how much energy you wasted defending it. The hours spent explaining, proving, comparing, gone, and in their place comes peace, time, clarity. You begin to live for essence, not appearance. You stop seeking to be known and start seeking to be real. The applause fades, the crowd leaves, but you remain calm, complete, whole, because respect from others was never the goal. Mastery of self was. And when you master yourself, the world's respect often follows. But by then, you no longer care for it. Ironically, the one who no longer seeks respect often earns the deepest kind. The respect that comes from presence, not performance. But even then, he holds it lightly, for he knows it can vanish as easily as it came. His peace does not depend on it. Destroy your respect, for what you destroy is not your honor, but your dependency. What you lose is not your worth, but your weakness, and in the ashes of that destruction, you will find something eternal. Freedom from the opinions of men, freedom from the prison of image, freedom from the exhausting need to be seen as something. For once you stop trying to be someone in their eyes, you finally become everything you were meant to be in your own. Perfect. Let's continue. Here is the extended continuation in the same deep, stoic, cinematic tone. No headings, no breaks in the message, just pure flow. The world has trained you to protect your reputation as if it were your soul. You've been told that respect is everything, that without it, you are nothing. And so you build an image made of glass, fragile and polished, and then spend your life terrified that someone might throw a stone. But what if you stopped protecting it? What if you let it shatter, and instead of panicking, you smiled? You would see that the glass was never your essence. The cracks would reveal the truth hiding behind the reflection. And in that truth, you would realize that what is real can never be destroyed. What breaks is falsehood. What survives is authenticity. People will tell you that to lose respect is to lose power. But real power doesn't need respect. It stands alone. Power built on image is a sandcastle, one wave of rumor, and it's gone. Real power is a mountain. Storms may strike it, clouds may hide it, but it remains unmoved. To destroy your respect means to return to the mountain within you, to what does not change when the crowd changes its mind. The mountain never asks for admiration. It simply exists in quiet majesty. Become that. The need for respect makes you predictable. The one who fears disrespect is easy to manipulate. All it takes is an insult, a rumor, or an act of mockery to throw him off balance. But the one who has already destroyed his respect cannot be manipulated. He has nothing to defend, nothing to prove, nothing to hide. He cannot be baited by ego, for he has already killed it. That is why people who have faced humiliation and survived it often become the most peaceful and powerful souls. They've lost everything false, and what remains is pure essence. Destroy your respect because the world is blind. It praises the shallow and ignores the deep. It worships noise and despises silence. It calls the disciplined man cold, the humble man weak, the calm man boring. Why seek respect from those who cannot recognize truth? To be disrespected by fools is an honor. It is proof that you are walking a path they cannot understand. Do not waste your energy trying to be seen clearly by eyes that are clouded by ignorance. Walk on. Let their misunderstanding be your freedom. There will be moments when your silence will be mistaken for weakness, when your peace will be called pride, when your detachment will be called arrogance. Let them think what they will. Do not correct them. Every attempt to explain yourself is an attempt to regain the respect you claim to have destroyed. Let them be wrong. Let them carry their confusion. Your job is not to manage their perception. Your job is to maintain your clarity. The more you need to be seen as good, the less free you become. The more you release that need, the more your soul breathes. Destroy your respect, and you will begin to see the game clearly. You'll notice how people wear politeness like armor, how they trade flattery for favor, how they manipulate sympathy for power. You'll see that much of what the world calls respect is nothing more than disguised fear. Employees respect their bosses out of fear of losing jobs. Citizens respect leaders out of fear of punishment. Friends respect each other out of fear of conflict. But fear-based respect is not respect. It's submission. Destroy your need for it, and you'll stop bowing to false power. When you no longer crave respect, you become honest. You start saying what others are afraid to say. You start living in truth rather than performance. You no longer say yes when your soul screams no. You no longer pretend to agree just to stay liked. You start walking away from noise, not out of pride, but because you value your peace more than attention. You stop being nice at the cost of your integrity. True kindness does not come from fear, it comes from strength. The one who destroys his respect learns to act from principle, not pressure. The world respects strength, but misunderstands peace. It bows to dominance, but mocks restraint. It fears the quiet man because he cannot be controlled. His silence unnerves them. They cannot tell what he's thinking, and so they call him distant, strange, mysterious. But the quiet man has no interest in their definitions. He destroyed his respect long ago, and with it, his dependency on understanding. He does not need to be known. He only needs to be true. Destroy your respect, and you will no longer chase being right in arguments. You will no longer need to win. You will no longer waste energy defending your reputation against gossip. You will understand that truth defends itself through time. Lies fade because they require constant feeding, constant voices, constant noise to survive. Truth, however, is silent. It simply endures. So be like truth. Endure. Let them speak. Their words will rot on their tongues, and you will still be standing, untouched, unseen, unshaken. When you destroy your respect, you also destroy the need for revenge. For revenge is born from wounded pride. You only seek to hurt those who disrespected you when you still believe they took something from you. Once you see that nothing they say or do can reduce your value, the desire for revenge dies. You realize that their behavior is a reflection of their chaos, not your worth. You no longer lower yourself to their level. You simply rise and move on, carrying no poison in your veins. That is the kind of strength that breaks cycles and ends wars. The mind that no longer craves respect is light. It moves freely. It's not heavy with comparison or resentment. It doesn't need validation to act with virtue. It doesn't need witnesses to do what's right. It doesn't need applause to be consistent. It moves like the wind, unseen, unstoppable, unconcerned. You become the kind of person who walks through life quietly transforming everything around you, not by image, but by essence. Destroy your respect, because respect makes you perform, and performance kills peace. You start pretending to care about things you don't care about, saying words you don't mean, wearing clothes that aren't you, living lives that aren't yours. You try to impress people who won't even remember your name. You sacrifice your authenticity for approval, and then you wonder why your heart feels heavy. Destroy it. Burn the stage. Walk off. Go live where truth lives, in silence, simplicity, solitude. There's a beautiful paradox in life. When you no longer need respect, people begin to respect you in a different way. Not the loud kind that comes from flattery, but the quiet kind that comes from presence. They feel something unshakable in you. They may not understand it, but they sense it. And deep down they know they cannot move you. You have destroyed the hook they used to pull you with. You are free, and freedom always commands silent reverence. Destroy your respect, and you destroy the constant noise in your mind. You stop rehearsing conversations, stop worrying about how you looked, what you said, who liked you, who didn't. You stop needing to be seen as right, kind, smart, confident, spiritual, or strong. You become comfortable being nothing in their eyes and everything in your own. The mind finally rests. That stillness you've been chasing through meditation, and distraction finally arrives. Not because you found it, but because you stopped feeding the ego that kept it away. People think peace comes from being respected, but peace comes when you no longer care whether you are or not. Respect is temporary. Peace is eternal. Respect is a performance. Peace is the absence of performance. Respect must be maintained. Peace maintains itself. Choose peace, even if it means being called a fool. Choose peace, even if it means walking alone. Choose peace, even if they mock you for it. Because when you destroy your respect, you stop living for eyes. You start living for truth. You will see people who betray you for image. They will gossip to appear loyal to others. They will twist stories to protect their reputation. Let them. You will see people who apologize not because they regret their actions, but because they fear losing respect. Let them. You will see people who pretend to be humble just to be praised for their humility. Let them. You have no business correcting illusions. Let the actors act. You have stepped off the stage. There will be a day when you look back and realize that losing respect was the best thing that ever happened to you, because it stripped away all the false layers. It forced you to meet yourself naked, without titles, without praise, without applause. And what you found wasn't weak. It was indestructible. You'll realize that the one who has nothing to prove cannot be humiliated. The one who seeks nothing cannot be controlled. The one who expects nothing cannot be disappointed. That is what destroying your respect gives you. Total inner sovereignty. And once you have that, you finally understand the truth that few ever do. The world doesn't owe you respect, and you don't owe it your peace. All right? Here is the final extended continuation of your Stoic wisdom style speech, bringing the full message toward the depth and length you want, now approaching 5,000 words. No headings, no breaks, just continuous, powerful reflection in Stoic tone. There will come a day when you finally understand that no amount of respect can fill the emptiness of a man who does not respect himself. You can collect all the compliments, all the applause, all the admiration, and still feel hollow, because respect that comes from others can decorate your surface, but it cannot reach your core. It's like painting gold on a cracked vessel. It shines for a while, but the cracks remain beneath the color. Only self-respect, born from discipline and truth, can repair those cracks from within. When you destroy your borrowed respect, you make space for the real one to grow. Self-respect is quiet. It does not demand recognition. It does not need to be displayed. It is earned in private battles, in the small decisions no one sees, in the moments when you could have betrayed your values and didn't. It's in the words you choose not to speak, the impulses you choose not to follow, the peace you choose over pride. Destroy your desire for public respect so that you may finally cultivate private strength. The world may not cheer for it, but your soul will. When you destroy your respect, you destroy the illusion of fairness. You stop expecting the world to acknowledge your goodness. You stop expecting people to return your kindness, your loyalty, your truth. You realize that doing right was never about being seen. It was about being aligned. You do not plant seeds for applause. You plant them because the soil must be cared for. Whether others notice or not does not matter. The garden of your spirit grows in silence. The truth is, most people don't want respect. They want control. They want to feel above others, to have their opinions validated, their ego affirmed. But real respect, the kind that matters, is not control, it's calmness. It's the quiet knowing that you've done right, even when wrong wins the vote. Destroy your respect so that you no longer need to be right in their eyes. You only need to be right with yourself. You will find that when you no longer care about being respected, your words become sharper, your choices cleaner, your presence heavier. You speak less but mean more. You no longer fill silence with justification or seek comfort through reaction. You simply exist in calm certainty. The noise around you continues, but it no longer enters you. You begin to feel the difference between peace and popularity, and you choose peace every time. When you destroy your respect, you stop living for legacy. You stop obsessing over how you will be remembered. You stop fearing being forgotten. The need to leave a name behind is another form of ego disguised as virtue. The earth forgets kings and beggars alike. The stars shine on both graves without preference. Why then should you live in anxiety over how they will speak of you after you are gone? Live rightly, not memorably. Let time erase your name, but let eternity recognize your truth. Destroy your respect, and you will finally understand the freedom of invisibility. You'll walk through life quietly, watching people exhaust themselves, performing for eyes that don't care, chasing fame that fades before they even grasp it. You'll see them selling their peace for attention, their values for clout, their truth for belonging. And you'll smile, not out of superiority, but out of compassion. Because you once did the same. You once believed that to be seen was to exist. Now you know better. You exist fully even in silence, even when no one applauds. The man who destroys his respect becomes untouchable because he no longer negotiates his worth. He can be fired from jobs, rejected by people, mocked by crowds, but his spirit remains still. He does not panic when he loses status. He does not chase when he loses praise. He does not explain when he is misunderstood. He simply continues walking, calm as a stormless sea. Those who live for respect fear every wave. Those who have destroyed it can walk on water. When you destroy your respect, you also destroy the roots of anger. Most anger comes from wounded pride, from feeling disrespected, ignored, unseen. But how can you be disrespected when you no longer measure yourself by others? How can you be offended when you've stopped renting your peace to strangers? The insults of others fall like raindrops on stone. You do not absorb them, you let them pass. The one who can walk through insult without bitterness has achieved mastery. Destroy your respect, and you'll see how much of your identity was built on reaction. Every argument, every defense, every explanation, it all existed to protect the fragile image of who you thought you were. But once that image is gone, what is left to defend? Nothing. You stop reacting. You begin responding. And eventually, you stop even needing to respond. You simply observe. You watch the noise of the world pass by like wind over a mountain. The mountain does not chase the wind, nor does it fear it. It simply stands. Be that mountain. When you destroy your respect, you stop fearing change. You stop fearing loss. You stop fearing obscurity. You begin to see that the only thing that truly dies when your reputation dies is your attachment to illusion. The self that remains, the quiet observer, the still witness, is eternal. That part of you was never born, never praised, never insulted. It simply is. And when you rest in that awareness, respect becomes a game for children. Destroy your respect and the world will test you. They will disrespect you on purpose, mock you, ignore you, provoke you. Not because they hate you, but because they cannot understand how you can exist without needing them. Your indifference threatens their illusions. They need you to care so they can feel important. Do not give them that satisfaction. Let them think they've won. Every time you refuse to react, you win a battle within. Every time you let go, you grow. Every time you stay silent, you rise higher. To destroy your respect is to destroy vanity. Vanity hides in subtle ways. It's not only about looks or wealth. It's about wanting to be seen as good, humble, spiritual, strong, wise. Even humility can become vanity when performed for respect. But when you no longer care how you're seen, you stop performing even for morality. You simply act in truth, without motive, without audience. That is the purest form of integrity. To do right without needing to be respected for it. Destroy your respect, and you destroy comparison. You no longer measure yourself against others. You no longer envy the one who is praised, nor look down on the one who is ignored. You begin to see all souls as travelers, each carrying burdens unseen. You no longer crave to stand above anyone. because the height you once sought was only illusion. You realize that peace was never found at the top. It was always found within. Destroy your respect and your relationships will change. Some will fall away, not because you stopped loving them, but because they only loved the image of you that sought their approval. When that image dies, their connection fades. Let it. The ones who truly belong will remain, for they were never attracted to your performance. They were drawn to your presence. When you destroy your respect, you create room for genuine love, for truth without pretense, for companionship without performance. Destroy your respect, and even failure loses its sting. You no longer fear being seen as foolish. You take risks because your worth is no longer tied to outcome. You can start again without shame, fall without despair, lose without losing yourself. The fear of looking bad has stopped more dreams than any real obstacle ever has. When you stop needing to look successful, you finally become capable of true success. The kind that isn't measured by eyes, but by alignment. The path of destroying your respect is not easy. It requires dying to your old self, the self addicted to validation, addicted to control, addicted to applause. It feels like loss at first because the ego screams when it is starved. But as the noise fades, a strange peace begins to emerge. It is not loud. It does not rush. It simply fills you like light entering a dark room. That peace is the reward for every humiliation you endured, every misunderstanding you accepted, every opinion you ignored. Destroy your respect, because life is too short to live as a prisoner to perception. One day, the people whose respect you crave will be gone. Their opinions will turn to dust, their voices to silence. But the one thing that will remain is the state of your soul. Did you live in truth, or did you live for applause? Did you walk in freedom, or did you crawl under judgment? Did you speak with conviction, or did you whisper for comfort? Destroy your respect now, while you still have time to live free. The world will call you strange for it. They will ask why you don't care, why you don't fight, why you don't explain. Smile gently and let them talk, for you have seen what they have not. That respect is not life, and losing it is not death. The soul breathes not through validation, but through truth. Destroy your respect, and you will find something greater waiting beneath the ruins. Peace that cannot be shaken, strength that does not shout, freedom that does not fade. You will not become less, you will become infinite. Because when you stop trying to be someone, you finally remember that you were everything all along. All right, understood. Here's a continuation written in the same Stoic wisdom tone, slow, deep, reflective, and cinematic in its rhythm. This section expands the message further into how life unfolds after you destroy false respect, how strength, clarity, and quiet freedom take root. When you finally destroy your respect, something remarkable begins to happen within you. At first, it feels like emptiness, like silence after a storm. The ego that once shouted for attention has gone quiet, and in that quiet you feel lost. But slowly, you begin to hear another voice, the voice you ignored while chasing approval. It speaks softly, but it is the most honest thing you've ever heard. It does not flatter you. It does not criticize you. It simply tells you the truth. That voice is your compass, your inner teacher, the one that existed long before the world taught you who to be. At first, the silence feels unbearable. You'll reach for distractions. The noise of other people, the comfort of routine, the old patterns of seeking respect. You'll try to rebuild the image you destroyed, because living without it feels uncertain. But if you can sit in the emptiness a little longer, something sacred will awaken. You'll realize that the silence is not emptiness, it's space. And in that space, you can finally breathe. You can finally see clearly what matters and what doesn't. When you no longer need to be respected, you stop rushing. You stop explaining yourself. You stop running after opportunities that don't align with your truth. Life slows down. The world's chaos no longer infects your mind. You start moving differently, calmly, deliberately, as though guided by something beyond the surface. You begin to act from stillness rather than reaction, and that stillness gives your actions a kind of gravity, a quiet weight that others can feel but cannot name. You will notice that the world still behaves the same. It will still praise, still criticize, still misunderstand, but none of it lands on you anymore. You become like the ocean. Waves crash on your surface, but the depths remain calm. People will still project their fears onto you, still judge, still gossip. But while they burn energy trying to define you, you will be busy living. You will walk away from arguments not because you have no words, but because you have no need to win. Destroy your respect long enough, and you begin to live beyond ego. The things that once irritated you no longer move you. The people who once made you doubt yourself no longer hold power. The desires that once controlled you fade into distance. You stop needing to prove your worth, because you see how foolish it was to measure something infinite with the yardstick of human opinion. You stop fighting to be seen, because truth is its own witness. In this new life, you begin to enjoy small things again: the morning light, the sound of rain, the taste of simplicity. You stop living for grand gestures and start noticing the quiet blessings that were always there. You stop performing and start being, and that beingness, quiet, still, grounded, feels like home. The weight of pretending lifts. The mind that used to obsess over reputation now relaxes into gratitude. You begin to see how heavy you had been carrying the need to be respected, and how light you feel without it. When you destroy your respect, you stop chasing validation, even from those closest to you. You stop demanding that others see your goodness, your sacrifice, your effort. You realize that true love does not seek validation. It simply gives. When you act with truth, you no longer need witnesses. The right ones will see you even in silence. The wrong ones won't understand you even when you scream. So you stop screaming. You love quietly, you serve quietly, you live quietly. Freedom from respect also brings freedom from control. You stop trying to control outcomes, control people, control perceptions. You begin to see that life flows on its own rhythm. You can guide it, but you cannot own it. You can influence, but you cannot dictate. And that realization humbles you. It takes away the arrogance of image and replaces it with the grace of acceptance. You begin to move through life like water, soft yet unstoppable, yielding yet powerful. When you no longer crave respect, you begin to see beauty where others see none. You find peace in solitude, purpose in routine, meaning in hardship. You stop waiting for life to reward you and start living as if every moment is the reward. You stop needing to impress and start appreciating. You stop needing to appear wise and simply seek to understand. You stop performing and start living. And that shift, from performance to presence, is the quiet rebirth of your soul. Destroy your respect and watch how conflict changes. You will no longer argue to prove your worth, but to seek truth. You will no longer fight to be heard, but to bring peace. You will no longer defend yourself with words, but with silence. You will stop trying to win battles that don't matter and start winning the war within yourself. The man who has destroyed his respect wins without fighting, leads without titles, teaches without speaking. His life becomes the lesson, and slowly, without trying, you become someone that others start to respect, not for your image, but for your stillness. They will sense something about you they can't explain. They'll feel peace when you walk into a room. They'll feel grounded when you speak. And though they may never say it aloud, they will respect you in the purest way possible, without words, without flattery, without performance. But by then, you won't need their respect anymore. You'll simply be grateful that your peace can serve as light for others lost in darkness. There is a deeper reason to destroy your respect. It teaches you compassion. When you've seen how deeply you were enslaved by opinions, you begin to understand that everyone else is enslaved too. You stop judging others for their vanity, their pride, their fear. You see that they are caught in the same storm you once were, trying to hold together a mask that keeps cracking. And instead of despising them, you pity them. You help when you can, and when you can't, you walk away without bitterness. To destroy your respect is also to destroy attachment to being liked. You stop fearing the label of unapproachable or cold. You realize that not being liked by everyone is not a flaw, it's freedom. You start choosing authenticity over popularity, solitude over shallow company, truth over comfort. And this is where life becomes quiet but full, empty but complete, alone but never lonely. Destroy your respect long enough, and you stop living with resentment. You stop keeping score of who gave you credit and who didn't. You stop replaying moments of disrespect in your mind. You stop needing closure from people who will never understand you. You stop wishing they had seen your value, because you finally do. Forgiveness comes naturally because anger cannot survive in a heart that no longer depends on being seen. Destroy your respect, and you start seeing time differently. You stop wasting it defending your name. You stop explaining yourself to those who don't care to listen. You stop fighting battles that lead nowhere. You realize that time is sacred and peace is precious. You begin to give your energy only to what nourishes your soul. You begin to protect your peace not through walls, but through wisdom. When you no longer seek respect, humility becomes effortless. You no longer need to announce your strength. You no longer need to remind people of your sacrifices. You no longer need to prove your worth. You become simple, light, and unbothered. The loud need respect. The wise stay quiet. The loud demand recognition. The wise live in truth. And while the world chases noise, the wise rest in silence. Destroy your respect, and you will see how fleeting life truly is. All the praise, all the judgment, all the admiration, it fades. But truth remains. Character remains. Peace remains. You begin to live not for what can be said of you, but for what you become. You stop trying to look good and start trying to be good. And that difference between looking good and being good is the difference between illusion and freedom. In the end, destroying your respect is not destruction, it's purification. You are not losing something valuable, you are shedding what was false. You are returning to simplicity, to peace, to truth. You are no longer a puppet pulled by invisible strings. You are whole, you are free. And when you stand in that freedom, silent, calm, untouchable, the world will not understand you, but it will feel your presence. And even if it never respects you again, you will have gained something far greater than respect. You will have found yourself.